Believe it or not, this is a Christmas poem. The Turning of the Tide by C.S. Lewis. Breathless was the air over Bethlehem. Black and bare were the fields, hard as granite the clods, hedges stiff with ice, the sedge and the vice the pool like pointed iron rods. And the deathly stillness spread from Bethlehem. It was shed wider each moment on the land, through rampart and wall into camp and hall and stole the hush. All tongues were at a stand. At the procurator's feast the jocular freedman ceased his story, and gaped. All were glum. Travellers at their beer in a tavern turned to hear the landlord. Their oracle was dumb. But the silence flowed forth to the islands in the north, and smoothed the unquiet river bars, and levelled out the waves from their revelling, and paved the sea with cold reflected stars. Where the Caesar on Palatine sat at ease to sign, without anger, signatures of death, there stole into his room, and on his soul a gloom, and his pen faltered, and his breath. Then to Carthage and the Gauls, past Prothia and the falls of Nile, and Mount Amara it crept. The romp and war of beast in swamp and jungle ceased, the forest grew still as though it slept. So it ran about the girth of the planet. From the earth a signal, a warning, went out and away behind the air. Her neighbours were aware of change, and they were troubled with a doubt. Salamanders in the sun that brandish as they run tails like the Americas in size were stunned by it and dazed. Wondering, they gazed up at earth, misgiving in their eyes. In houses and signs, Osiarchs divine grew pale and questioned what it meant. Great galactal lords stood back to back with swords half drawn, awaiting the event, and a whisper among them passed. Is this perhaps the last of our stories and glories of our crown? The entropy worked out? The central redoubt abandoned? The world spring running down? Then they could speak no more. Weakness overbore even them. They were as flies in a web, in their lethargy, stone dumb. The death had almost come. The tide lay motionless at ebb. Like a stab at that moment, over crab and bowman, over maiden and lion, came the shock of a turning knife. The start and burning pang at heart, setting galaxies to tingle and rock, and the lords dared to breathe, and swords were sheathed, and a rustling, a relaxing began. With a rumour and noise of the resuming joys, on the nerves of the universe it ran. Then pulsing into space with delicate, dulcet pace came a music, infinitely small and clear. But it swelled and drew nearer and held all world in the sharpness of its call. And now divinely deep and louder, with the sweep and quiver of inebriating sound, the vibrant dithyramb shook Liber and the ram. The brains of Aquarius spun round. Such a note as neither throne nor potentate had known since the word first sounded the abyss. And this time it was changed in a mystery, estranged, a paradox, an ambiguous bliss. Heaven danced to it and burned. Such answer was returned to the hush, the favette, the fear the earth had sent out. Revel, mirth, and shout descended to her, sphere below sphere. Saturn laughed, and lost his latter age's frost, his beard, Niagara-like, unfroze. Monsters in the sun rejoiced. The inconstant one, the unwedded moon, forgot her woes. A shiver of rebirth and deliverance on the earth went gliding. Her bonds were released. Into broken light a breeze rippled and woke the seas. In the forest it startled every beast. Capropods fell to dance from Taprobon to France, leprechauns from down to Labrador. In his green Asian dell the phoenix from his shell burst forth, and was the phoenix once more. So death lay in a rest. But at Bethlehem the blest, nothing greater could be heard than a dry wind in the thorn, the cry of the one newborn, and cattle in a stall as they stirred. If you enjoy poetry in formal English meter, check out my blog at beardedpoet.wordpress.com. And if you wish more people wrote in formal English meter today, check out my book on Kindle. Click the link below.